WSVI-TV.
News 8 is brought to you tonight by Trans-Island Air Cargo since 1983 and Cable and Wireless BVI Limited.
Good evening, I'm Tracy Stevens. In local news this evening, the holidays are now officially over and the Virgin Islands is back to work. The territory's new legislature rolled up its sleeves today after senators were sworn into office and began the first session of the 18th legislature.
I do solemnly affirm that I will support, obey, and defend the Constitution and laws of the United States applicable to the Virgin Islands and the laws of the Virgin Islands. That I take this obligation freely without any mental reservation or purpose of evasion. And that I will faithfully and impartially discharge the duties of senator with fidelity. So help me God. Congratulations. Thank you.
The first order of business was the organization of the 18th legislature, included in a resolution that also contained changes in some of the rules. Senator Robert O'Connor was named vice president, Senator Sinclair Williams was named secretary, and Senator Alicia Hansen was named secretary for intergovernmental relations and territorial affairs. Senator Lorraine Berry was named majority leader, and Senator Holland Redfield was named liaison to the White House. Members of the minority voiced opposition to some of the new rules included in the resolution, mainly the deletion from the agenda of privileges of the floor and the fact that it will now take only 9 votes to pass special orders and to amend rules, which previously required a majority of 10 votes to approve. Minority senators attempted to amend the resolution but failed. Lee Carl has more on that story.
Well, the organization of the 18th legislature was predicted to be stormy. It didn't turn out to be so much of a storm, but rather some hard words and some sound speeches as predicted by Senator Holland Redfield. And when the senators got down to the matter, they talked about the resolution that was presented by the minority, specifically Senator Burton Brown.
Bill 18001, Section 2 is amended to read as follows. Section 2. The rules governing the organization and operation of the 18th Legislature of the Virgin Islands, as proposed in the document entitled Rules of the Senate, United States Virgin Islands, and dated January 9th, 1989, which is attached to and by the reference made a part of this resolution, is hereby substituted by the document entitled Revision A to the proposed rules of the Senate. So moved, Mr. President.
Senator Brown lost his chance twice, and then a vote down upheld the decision by the Senate President to go on and adopt the resolution that put in place Bent Levetz as President and the rest of the officers and the committee chairmanships. Following the speeches by everyone and privileges of the floor, thanking the President and offering cooperation, Bent Levetz outlined his plan for the 18th legislature as the new President.
I will work hard to maintain constructive cooperation between the executive and legislative branches. Both are charged with the responsibility of serving the people of the Virgin Islands. I already have a good working relationship with the governor. A cooperative spirit in no way means rubber stamping, as each executive proposal will receive careful scrutiny and consideration. However, it does mean a desire to see the executive and legislative branches work together to raise the quality of life in the territory. There is so much for us to do, so much to strive for, to provide adequate, affordable housing, excellent education to give our children the tools to enable them to take their rightful places in this rapidly changing technological world, quality hospitals and health care, increasing vocational and skills training, meaningful employment with decent wages and working conditions, entrepreneurial opportunities for local residents to join the mainstream of our economy, and legislation which will result in the removal of the bottles and garbage that litter our roadsides. Together we must vigorously attack and overcome the influence of drug pushers, peddlers and users with a attendant increase in crime. We must stress more drug education and prevention. We must also address the problems of solid waste, inadequate roads, sewage and water systems. And we must continue to improve our airports and harbors. I am proud to have been a sponsor of the minimum wage law, in spite of the fact that Congress has so far failed to pass an increase in the national minimum wage, with the result that a minimum wage in the territory is now higher than a national minimum. We must not forget, however, that the cost of living in the Virgin Islands is higher than a national average. No one on the central staff of the legislature will be paid less than $10,400 per year, which is to be the minimum government salary as established by existing legislation, but which has not as yet been implemented. One of the most important problems the 18th legislature will be facing is that of the retroactive pay still owed government workers. I actively supported efforts in the 17th legislature to pay all retroactive money owed government workers. I will continue to do so in the 18th.
In St. Thomas, Lee Carl for News 8.
The two men who escaped from the Golden Grove prison on St. Croix last week were captured early yesterday morning. According to police, officers executed an assault on a house in St. Peter's Rest where the two men were hiding out. Christian Martinez, age 29, and 37-year-old Felix Perez, sought by authorities since January 4th, surrendered without resistance after police surrounded the house. Martinez, who was serving time on a cocaine violation, and Perez, who was convicted of murder, were arrested on charges of escape from custody. They were remanded and held without bail. We'll be back with more news in just a moment.
Proudly presents the revolutionary new Unidim SMS 300. Compact, stylish design, LCD crystal display, call timer, 30-number memory, and the exciting new hands-free feature makes this the finest radio telephone available today. Easy to use and simple to install, the new Unidim SMS 300 is the answer to telephone communications wherever you go, land or sea, in the Virgin Islands.
The Uniden SMS 300, $995 financing available. Call Ackley Communications at 776-7760 St. Thomas or 773-1253 in St. Croix.
Invest in tomorrow at today's prices. The Columns at Enfield Green. With a down payment of less than $3,000, you can purchase a half acre of rolling tree-studded land. This is your opportunity to purchase land that will continue to increase in value at an affordable price. The Columns at Enfield Green, a solid investment for your future. See your broker, call, or visit the sales office 7 days a week.
Miami, très joli. Miami, mucho gusto. Miami, for business or fun. Miami, for the day, the week, the weekend. Miami, we'll take you there. Miami, see it for yourself. Miami. Midway.
The winners of this year's Three Kings Day Parade have been announced in the troops. Number 1 was the Senatorial Privileges. Number 2 was Treasures of King Tut's Tomb by the Rigadams. And number 3 was St. Mary's Frenchies from St. Mary's School. In the floops, there was no other entry, so The Way It Was Fun Troop is the winner. In individual, the categories, the number 1 was Peacock Paradise by Kenneth Springer, and number 2 was Wayward Sunflower by Margaret Codrington. The road march that won was Juve Mon Bijou by the Enforcements. There were no winners in the float category because there were no float entries. And the judges want to thank the majorettes who came from St. Thomas and the Mucko Jumbies from St. Croix and St. Thomas. The adult Three Kings Day Parade marked the culmination of this year's event. Monica Marshall has highlights of that parade.
A
fiesta that started out on a note of doubt turned out to be a jumping, rocking, shaking, whining, bucking good time. Some said it would last only a half hour. Others said if there were 10 entries, we would be lucky. Over 30 entries danced and pranced their way down King Street to send the season out with a blast. There was a train of royalty, majorettes, and music from start to end. A number of troops that you look out for every year once again did not disappoint the crowd. The Rigadims came out Egyptian style, sparkling with gold. And what is fiesta without the Mukajumbis doing their thing?
Here we go. Something I always look forward to in the parade. I see the Mukajumbis. I tried it once.
Floyd Henderson and his troops celebrated their 35th anniversary.
Well, you're listening to the Enforcement Band, right? That looks like that song has a good inside track on Road March. You're watching the Floyd Henderson team celebrating 25th anniversary.
And in sticking with this year's theme the way it was, the fun troop rode in on donkey back, bucking and carrying on.
I want to know why you see the man there, why he got the smallest donkey.
This year's theme really hit home when the sound of steel band music rekindled the fire of tradition. For too long, the flavor of steel band music was missing from the fiesta, and the Rising Stars Steel Orchestra was a special part of this year's fiesta, a part of the way it was.
Well, we got the Rising Stars Steel Orchestra coming up, and of course that's in the parade. Let's disappear. I mean, you said you're going to disappear, right? We get heard.
And this is The Way It Was, Three Kings Day Parade 1989. This is Monica Marshall reporting for News 8.
A jury of 7 women and 5 men was chosen today to deliberate in the trial of St. Clair Daniel, who is charged with premeditated murder in the slaying of 2 people at Bessop Bay Beach, St. Thomas in March of last year. Daniel faces 2 counts of murder, 2 counts of committing mayhem, and 1 for possession of a dangerous weapon in the death of Steve Cornish, age 29, and Genevieve Lewis, age 53, who were decapitated and dismembered with a machete on March 2, 1988. Public Defender Thurston McKelvin, Daniel's attorney, refused to specify his defense strategy, but said that all bets are insanity. Daniel has a history of drug abuse and violent behavior and has undergone psychiatric evaluation. McKelvin says he expects the trial to run a week.
It's what matters. The environment, health, money, drugs, education, family. What matters is the American agenda, a new way to look at the news. Every weeknight on ABC's World News Tonight with Peter Jennings.
Trans-Island Air Cargo has been serving your neighbors in the business community with dependable, affordable air cargo service since 1983. We operate large single-engine aircraft with load capacities of up to 1,200 pounds or 120 cubic feet. Trans-Island Air Cargo is a 24-hour cargo charter operation. Call 778-3221 for information and charter rates. Find out how Trans-Island Air Cargo can help you with your cargo needs.
In a world of the latest technology, Cable and Wireless is providing you with the latest and best communication worldwide, directly to and from the British Virgin Islands. From our main exchange computer program switch, our signal goes anywhere you want in just seconds. If you're visiting or living in the British Virgin Islands, Cable and Wireless is pleased to offer you full automatic local telephone service as well as international direct dialing throughout the world. People reaching people from Cable and Wireless, BVI Limited.
Crazy Rick is going insane again!
Save 60 to 70% off on 14-karat gold and silver jewelry. 14-karat gold chains from $24.95 and bracelets from $19.95. 14-karat gold and silver West Indian bangles from $14.95. Sparkling diamond and precious stone tennis bracelets. Remote control cars from $19.95. And Nintendo machine cartridges and handheld games. Talking and walking dolls from $24.95. Casio watches from $9.95. 1,001 items at crazy prices at Crazy Rick's in the Gold Factory.
A funny thing happened to Stephen Gold on the way to becoming a heart surgeon.
Mr. Gold, was this on the prep sheet?
He became a comic.
What? Do you have a question? Your hand has been up as long as I've been here.
I want to learn.
Come on!
Right.
I'm not going to be a heart surgeon after all, but I am going to be a star.
Sally Field, Tom Hanks, Punchline, rated R.
Starting Thursday at Fielder in Theater.
Governor Alexander Farrelly's proposed legislation entitled the Uniform Pay and Merit Personnel Act of 1989 is currently being sent to the Virgin Islands union representatives for review. The governor is asking the union representatives to meet with him later this month at Government House for briefing on the salient elements of the proposed legislation. Members of the 18th legislature will also receive copies of the proposed act. The start of the new year also marks the season of influenza. Tom Stanwood has more from St. John.
The 1988-89 influenza vaccine is now available at the Myra Keating Smith Community Health Center at Susannaburg. High-risk individuals who should have this influenza vaccine include those over 65 years of age with chronic heart and lung diseases such as emphysema, bronchitis, or cancer, currently under treatment for kidney disease, cystic fibrosis, diabetes, severe anemia, and asthma, and with cancer or any other disorder that impairs the normal function of the immune system. Commissioner of Health Deborah McGregor tells News 8, due to the fact that the virus that causes influenza changes slightly each year, new strains appear. She says this is why people who are considered to be at the greatest risk of developing the disease should be immunized each year. This year's flu shot contains the strains A Taiwan 186, A Sichuan 287, and A Victoria 287. These strains were selected to provide protection against the types of influenza likely to occur in outbreaks this flu season. For more information, St. John residents should call 776-6400. Tom Stanwood reporting for News 8.
According to Travelers Insurance Employee Benefits Manager John McIntosh, there will be no interruption in the VI government's health insurance coverage. McIntosh says Travelers Insurance Company, the VI government's new health insurance carrier, will provide coverage for all participating employees and dependents effective January 1st, 1989. McIntosh explained that new enrollment forms have been printed and express mailed to the government to conduct an up-to-date enrollment of all employees. New insurance identification cards will be printed as soon as the government completes its enrollment process. Educators in the British Virgin Islands have been challenged to keep in mind the changing role of teachers in an ever-changing society. Erasmus Williams reports from Tortola.
In an address to principals and teachers in the territory to mark Professional Day, Minister of Health, Education and Welfare, Mr. Lewis Walters, observed that the topics of drug education, computer literacy programming, and reading literacy were the main matters for discussion.
These topics reflect some of the new challenges with which we are faced. The specific values and sentiments previously attached to particular subjects have now become a way of life. For example, in the case of smoking, the commitment to this activity has changed from a recreational and into a mode of behavior which represents the guiding principles in the individual's life. However, in all his or her relations with other people, kindness, respect, and humility are important factors, and you should help your students to develop these characteristics.
Minister of Health, Education and Welfare, Mr. Lewis Walters. Erasmus Williams in Rhodertown, Tortola for News 8.
Monica Marshall joins us with highlights. Alan Woods has sports, and we'll have the latest weather forecast when the news continues.
Discover the world of Air BVI. It begins with the British and U.S. Virgin Islands and includes services from Virgin Gorda, Anegada, Tortola and St. Thomas, Tinguilla, St. Martin, St. Kitts, Antigua and Dominica, with connections via BWIA to St. Lucia, Barbados, Grenada, Trinidad, Tobago and Guyana. And now we are adding the Dominican Republic to a list of exotic Caribbean destinations.
We need you to fly with us. Air BVI, your reliable link. In the BVI, call 42777. In St. Thomas, 774-6500.
Bill's Tours uses Texaco Super Unleaded. Joe's Tours doesn't.
I can't wait to see Mount Washington.
While Joe's knocking along, Bill's coming back.
My, that was a heavenly view.
Texaco Super Unleaded's higher octane blend helps eliminate knocking and restores lost power.
I can't wait to see Mount Washington.
And its Petrox detergent helps keep the power flowing.
I can't wait to wait.
Up ahead, there's Texaco, star of the American road.
Sutherland Properties knows that buying a home is the most important investment you can make. A condominium will give you the comforts of home with the luxuries of a hotel. Or perhaps you need a house where your growing family can enjoy the freedom of your own backyard. Let your imagination run free. Build the home of your dreams on one of our many beautiful home sites. Call Sutherland Properties at the Anchor Inn in Christiansted, 773-4001.
Here are tonight's highlights. All PTA officers for all public schools are urged to attend an important meeting tomorrow at 5:30 in the Central High Library. The Department of Labor Training Division is now accepting applications for summer employment for college students only, and the spring 1989 placement test will be given tomorrow at UVI St. Croix. The first exam begins at 9 a.m. Highlights is brought to you as a public service by Midway Airlines, Antilles Graphic Arts, Bulky International Airways, and Caribbean Computer Exports. If you have an item of community interest, send it to Highlights, P.O. Box 8, ABC, Christiansted, St. Croix. And now Woods has our sports report.
It was the NFL Conference Championships yesterday. In the NFC, San Francisco was in Chicago where it was cold. Wind chill about 30 below. The 49ers scored first. Joe Montana to Jerry Rice, a 61-yard pass play. 7-0 San Francisco. The 49ers defense put pressure on Jim McMahon. Just 3 plays later, under heavy pressure, Jim McMahon's pass was intercepted by Jeff Fuller. Then just before the half, Kevin Fagan dropped McMahon after the throw. McMahon was shaken up on the play. Joe Montana was sharp. He hit Jerry Rice for a second touchdown pass. 49ers were up 14-0. In the other game, the LA Lakers continued their unbeaten stand at home as LA routed San Antonio 126-96, snapping San Antonio's 3-game winning streak. Well, tomorrow evening, we will have the highlights of the Three Kings Mile ran in Christiansted last Saturday. That's a wrap in sports for Monday.
Have partly cloudy skies tonight with a 50% chance of showers, lows near 74 with winds from the east at 10 to 15 miles per hour. Partly cloudy tomorrow, 30% chance of showers, highs near 84, with winds from the east at 15 to 20 miles per hour. That's the latest weather forecast from the National Weather Service in San Juan.
And that's our report for this evening. From all of us at News 8, thank you for joining us and have a good evening.
News 8 was brought to you tonight by Trans-Island Air Cargo since 1983 and Cable and Wireless BVI Limited.
An audio and video menu of a variety of fine places to eat and drink. Here's Dining Around.
Three Virgins, the affordable family restaurant with a friendly atmosphere located at Red Hook, St. Thomas, where they serve breakfast, lunch, and daily specials, super sub, hamburger platters, and Sunday brunch. Three Virgins with a well-stocked bar to serve you. Three Virgins, Red Hook, St. Thomas.
Percy's Bus Stop Pub and Restaurant is the place to go when you want a real good lunch or dinner. We serve only taste-tempting delights and the best local dishes. That makes us a sensation. Conch, boiled fish, stew, mutton, chicken, all of your favorites daily. Come again for lunch or dinner. Percy's Bus Stop Pub and Restaurant, Veterans Drive, St. Thomas. Dine in rare and exotic beauty, elegant dining beachside, romance at its finest. All describe the perfect ambiance found at the Bird of Paradise, exclusively rich in beauty and tantalizing in its location. Visit the Bird of Paradise at Secret Harbor, St. Thomas. For reservations, call 56198. Pizza, pasta, salad, calzones, espresso, cappuccino is what you'll find at Prego's. Bar open till 1 a.m. Free pizza during our Don't Worry, Be Happy hour. Prego's specials, lasagna, eggplant parmesan, sausage and peppers, Sicilian pizza. Fast service, gourmet food, and great prices. Virgin Gorda, really gorgeous. Virgin Gorda, a treasured island. Escape for the day. Bulky International Airways offering the only all-expense-paid trip to British Virgin Gorda.
109 from St. Croix. 139 from St. Thomas. Give yourself a real treat. Reserve now. Bulky International Airways, 891.77 days, 216.29 evenings. Also air taxi and air ambulance service to anywhere in the Caribbean and the U.S.
Yes, we have your little bit of the sun.
There are always bills to pay and unexpected expenses. That is why, yes, we have the way for you to make those payments. Yes, we are Island Finance with our friendly, experienced people and with loans of up to $5,000 and easy terms, so you can make your little bit of the sun work for you.
Yes, we have the brightest plan. Yes, we have the way for you. Yes, we are Island Finance, a little bit of the sun.
WSVI-TV, Channel 8. Broadcasting from the Sunny Isle Shopping Center in Christiansted and transmitting from Blue Mountain on St.
C. This is World News Tonight with Peter Jennings.
Good evening. We begin tonight with a decision by the Supreme Court.